Welcome back. Another day and another podcast. Carnage Unleashed. How you fellas doing tonight?
Doing good, man. When I opened my laptop today, I had my last final today for undergrad. And I opened my laptop and I wasn't studying before my final. I was sitting there with 5 minutes to go and I had the Quentin Richards versus Kaleb Contreras fight pulled up. So
Nice.
that's how we roll. I got a B on it. That's way better than I thought I was going to do anyway. So somebody was watching out for me today, but I'm officially done with undergrad.
Nice.
You guys can see my Gaethje glove is gone. It is packed up. So I am starting. What the heck is that? Starting with the moving process right now. So that's a time. Of all the times to be alive, this is definitely one of them. Kev, how are you doing?
Well, I'm not moving, so I got that going for me. I feel you on that one, brother. It is always quite an experience to go ahead and get all your stuff packed up. And then, honestly, moving in for me is the worst part when you like spend a month with just all your boxes stacked up in one room, and you're like, I'll get around to this eventually. But I'm feeling great, man. We had a successful weekend last weekend on our show, and the Colts did okay in the draft. So you know what? I'm not having the worst time of life. How about you, Zach? How are you and your Cowboys doing?
Yeah, well, they're not as bad as the Cleveland Browns drafting 2 quarterbacks. That's all I gotta say. So I'm happy there. And Kevin got Notre Dame quarterback, so he's got another running quarterback to go with the Colts. So I'm happy, I guess, because we didn't do some stupid things like that. Other than that, I was excited. We had a great show this weekend. I was running around with a chick with my head cut off. But what's new when we're at shows, right? I'm always doing something like that. So, Wade, how was your week, buddy?
It was good. I would like to say the Steelers had an A+ draft, better than the Browns, with 5 quarterbacks in the room.
Jab.
No, it's been great. Been enjoying my days off. Got back in the gym, so a little sore.
That's good. That's good. And today we are going to be talking with JD McNett, and then later we are going to be covering UFC Fight Night. I know Clayton's excited to talk about that. So, with further ado, JD, how are you, champ? How are you feeling this Wednesday evening after getting that belt?
I'm feeling pretty good. Hey, so like I told you guys, this wasn't something new to me.
Right on. Yeah, because you got the submission in the second. You kind of called that when we were on the podcast last week. So I think that's the first time someone's actually called what they were going to do and actually did it on the show. So congratulations, JD, on being the first one to do that.
So I tried telling you guys.
And tell us you did, man. Going into that fight, what was it like just fighting in your hometown, right? You got a pretty big hometown reception during the walkout. That's about as loud as I've heard a crowd at any show that we've worked. So what was that experience like?
The experience was amazing. Like I said, half the crowd were people I didn't even know. They were just there. They saw the poster, came out to the event. And then I was walking around talking to people. So just experience spreading my horizon with the fan base and stuff like that. And I said I couldn't even hear my walkout song walking out those doors and walking to the cage.
That's got to be like the best feeling ever, right?
It was an amazing feeling. So that was the first for me.
Oh yeah, it was super loud. And when I heard that when you walked out, I was like, ooh. Kaleb did not get that warm welcome like you did.
Yeah. Well, instead of talking about it, heck, let's take a look at this. I've got the footage here. Let's pull it up here, and we'll take a look at this. We'll have you break down a little bit of what you're thinking. So you're just feeling it out here.
No, I figured he was gonna come out swinging with that overhand right.
Try to use that power that he was talking about.
Knowing that he's a boxer, how does that change your approach at the start of the fight? Like expecting that right hand over the top.
Honestly, just waiting and looking for like any little discretion, like any hitch or where he's moving his hand before he throws, and just placing a shot right in that time frame. Like as you
Right.
see, as soon as he threw, or the second takedown I did on him, as soon as he threw the overhand right, I was just right underneath it.
And you got really good position right there, right off that takedown. Got into side control, got that knee right there, so he can't move, can't get to that hip as well. Doing a real good job of keeping that nice pressure. And then instantly, boom, that's beautiful.
That was
instantly,
beautiful.
Right into full mount. I want to look at that again. He did nothing to stop that. Had no defense on the ground right there. Boom, instantly, right into full mount.
Yep. I see you trying to do the ground pound there, but he's just
He's just
real
being
wiggly.
wild.
I said he was a squirmy. He was a squirmy guy.
How difficult was he to hold down, just out of curiosity?
Honestly, it wasn't not the, like I told you guys. His ground game. He has a little bit of ground game. As you can tell, he's rolling out of stuff, trying to roll out of stuff. Like that's not what somebody's gonna do that doesn't know anything about grappling.
Sure.
But I'm just so well experienced with grappling with my wrestling background that I could stick to him and be right next to him every time he rolled.
Absolutely, yeah. We saw that a lot in the fight. Like, even right here, he's doing his best to, like, buck around, be wild. You never left. You kept those underhooks in. You stayed in mount. What more can we say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did a real good job putting those boots in it, because he's a good scrambler is what he's good at.
Yes.
That's how I would put it.
That's the one thing I didn't expect. I didn't expect him to be like super scrambly like that. So that it kind of threw me off when he kept rolling and rolling.
There's that ground and pound you're looking for, Wade.
No, I know. And then he starts rolling.
Yeah, that was the one live from the commentary desk that looked, incredible. Where it's like, how did you keep hold of him when he just flips, completely over top? This was a great exchange here. Just the way you were able to, like you said, stick on him despite all that wild attempts to get out of it.
Yeah, that was a great display of the wrestling background there, just following the hips and just staying calm and controlled.
I said I got told like before we stood back up, I had that where it was close to a rear naked choke, but he was just so he was so sweaty and slippery. It was so hard to even try to sink that in even more.
Yeah, here's that takedown you were talking about.
Yeah, I want to go back to it. Went a little too far, but here we go. Tries to show off his power and you could have just stepped right into that too, because he overextends on that. Overextends. That's why that back foot comes forward. I mean, if you would have stepped into that, you could have had a nasty double leg takedown too.
I figured the crowd would like hearing him get slammed more than just a double leg.
Sure.
Oh, of course.
Besides Joe, the other person that was in my corner, he said after that second slam, you could hear the whole cage just shake.
It shook our table. I felt the table shake a little bit that was sitting right next to the cage.
And that's you go right straight to knee on belly, just to sliding that right over. Beautiful technique. Your groundwork is really good. I have to say that. It is amazing.
I appreciate that. So I've worked on that, and
I do have to ask, what was your thoughts right there when he muscled you over like that? Whoops, I went a little too far back here. Let's get to it. Go for that takedown. Boom. Get that knee on belly. Slide it across. Not even caring that he's doing little pot shots on you. Putting little vines in there.
Looks like he just caught you some overhand.
He had both my arms trapped, and then he just. Let me see. He had both my arms trapped on his, so he just rolled me.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that was more muscle than technique, though,
Yeah.
in that. Doing a good job keeping him close to the body right there.
No, so that was my whole thought process on that, was just to keep him close to my body. I know he's gonna slip somewhere where I can hit a sweep.
And then you just did yourself a nice sweep right there too. Let's go back to
Did
that.
you feel his weight shift, and that's why you went
Yes.
ahead and did that?
Because anytime he was trying to shake out of the tight grip behind him, he would shift his weight. So I was just reading that, waiting for him to shift the weight that second time to roll.
Yeah, because you can see how he's leaning because you got that arm trap, so he's leaning that way because it looks like you're putting some good pressure on that shoulder right there, which is going to bring that weight more towards you forward right there. And boom, beautiful. Right into side. Well, because he's scrambling there. That's a little awkward. One,
See, like
two,
right there,
3 pinned, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to do, Kev?
And new.
Yeah, when he tried scrambling out of that, I put my knee behind his head so his head wouldn't come out.
So was your thought process to always try to get to that full mount, or were you looking for any submissions from like the side control that you were in? Because there's a couple times where you're in side control and you see you're just nice, calm, collective. You weren't really trying anything. Were you trying to get into full mount every single time, or what were you trying to do?
My whole thought process going into the fight was the first round. I mean, I don't want to go for a submission. I want to just ground and pound it out. Second round, I'm not gonna sit there and wait for something or sit for them to give up. So the second round, I was like, I'm definitely going for a submission.
There we go. There's some good ground and pound. That's my favorite. Put that forearm right in their face. Make them hate their life. And then here, you're trying to go for that belly out arm bar right there. Hold on. Let me go back to that.
That was a great transition there.
Yes. Right there. Boom. Right to that belly out arm bar.
I'm going to be honest, JD. I thought that would be it right there. So
I thought it was over.
Yeah. So talk about what you saw. Was it just his arm out to the side and you're like, okay, I can go get that, and then immediately jumped out there?
So there's a reason why I went for that armbar, and went straight for that armbar the second round. Is because after the first round, my coach brought up, and I realized it too, is like anytime I was on top of him, he would just try bench pressing me off. Because he knew he was strong. So he just tried bench pressing me. So he's overextending his arms. So he just left him wide open for an armbar.
Yeah, he wasn't using real good technique. If you're in that situation, you can't just power him off. You got to buck with it. You got to use your whole body. And he was not doing that at all. You need to buck and kind of do that, or go out the back door, whatever you're going to do from that bucking or from that position on the bottom. And he really wasn't doing it. That's why I was saying he's a good scrambler, but he needs to still work on some of that ground game of his that he was boasting about. And then we're into the second round here. Now that's a straight wrestling takedown now, isn't there, Wade?
Yeah.
Trying to get some of Wade's opinions here as the wrestler here. Boom.
Wade, you're muted.
You're muted, brother.
I thought
Wade didn't want to talk to you, JD.
No wonder he's got
you.
I clicked it, but my mouse was asleep.
That's why.
Yeah, so he just ducked under that shot, got to that single leg, and then what we like to say is transfer the hips, get them to that hip, transfer that weight, and you come around, wrap it up with double leg.
I don't like. See, a lot of coaches in that like when you take a shot and have your head on the outside, but I don't like having my head on the outside because you're more at prone for a guillotine choke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to strike from that position on the outside too.
Yes.
A little hammer fist right there. I mean, it may not do too much damage, but the refs like to look at, or not the refs, but the judges like to look at that at some points.
Because also, like, when I take shots, I will use, like, momentum off my shot to pretty much just take the wind out of his stomach with the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Use that head as a weapon. I like to use my head where you like to grind on people with my head. I mean, it helps now. I got a bald head, just wait till my hair is just little stubbles.
Yeah, it's like having sandpaper. Yeah,
Yeah.
At first here, I thought you were going for the darts. Is what I thought you were going for right there. Is that what you're looking to go into? Is the darts?
Yes, and then I saw how, like, he was willing to give up his back.
Yeah, he was pretty willing to do that. I saw that in the first too, with the scrambles.
It looked like you were going to fish for that leg right there. I think I might have said, either me or Hughes might have said that on the broadcast when that happened.
And then boom, right there it was.
I say, the arm
Was that your
bar
first
here-
intention to go for that armbar?
Yes. Coming out the corner, going into the second round, yes, I was looking for. So he was just leaving himself open for attempt.
And boom, and that is I think he's frozen on us there, guys.
I think so.
JD, if you want, go ahead and back out and come back in. We'll talk a little bit about this in the meantime until you are. I think there. You are there now. You're back. There you go.
Okay.
So what were you saying then about that arm bar? Then I'm sorry, we didn't quite hear you. You're cutting in and out for us.
Just like leaving that corner, going into the second round, that's what I was looking for, because like I told you guys, he was just trying to use his arms to bench press me off of him, trying to use his arms to do a lot of the things that leave you open to so many opportunities.
And plus, doing all that stuff too. I mean, that tires your arms out just trying to bench press people off and doing all those things.
So that was another thing. Like, you could tell he was very fatigued in that corner and in between rounds.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was talking about how his stamina. That's one thing I was saying to Wade too. Was I was like, well, we're going to see if that stamina that he was talking about is going to be there, because he was scrambling. You both were scrambling that entire first round. It was back and forth. It was actually really, really good between the two of you guys. I still felt like you dominated that first round with control and everything else like that. So, is that, I'm assuming that's exactly how you thought it was going to play out for you.
Yes. Like, stamina, yes, but there's all different types of stamina. Like, he's probably referring to, we're going to stand and bang stamina.
Yep.
Not, we're going to keep rolling around constantly. You're going to constantly keep trying to fight off your back.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole different type of stamina than, wrestling stamina, grappling stamina, punching stamina. They're all completely different. I mean, they really are. That's what makes this sport so great, is there's so many different varieties of things that you've got to worry about. You didn't have to worry about too many of the kicks, because the only kick that he did throw, you caught and took him down off of too. And I don't think he was looking to make any kicks after that.
So he hit me with one kick, and I definitely felt it. And after I felt that, I said, "You ain't kicking me anymore."
Now, he didn't get you at all standing up now, did he? He didn't hit you with any of his power punches.
No, I didn't feel the hand of God. But yeah, the only thing he hit me with was pretty much just a kick off the very start. He kicked my shin, and I stood there, I froze. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna take another one of those.
Good plan, right? Good plan.
Yeah.
So JD, you said in the post-fight interview you were planning on turning pro after this fight. Is that still the plan?
Yes, that's still the plan. As I said, I'm done fighting for free.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Do you have a time frame for us at all of when you're thinking you'll get back in there?
Honestly, the sooner the better. I'm hoping to get on the same card with Q for you guys' series this year. So I'm hoping to get on that card.
Hey, we
I
know
know
a
a guy. I know a guy you can talk to.
guy.
He's like me. He looks like me, but taller. Significantly less charming, but that's okay. We'll talk about that another time.
So we'll see. We're just trying to see who they're gonna try to match me up with.
I gotta ask now, since you did bring up matchups, is there any name out there that you would like to throw out?
Honestly, I don't know what weight class or what weight I'm gonna fight at. I'm still debating between 145 and 155.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good answer.
But
What do you normally walk around at?
like 166, 168.
Okay. Yeah, that would
But
45, you'd be a big 45. I would like to
I
see
said
that.
I haven't weighed I haven't weighed 145 since like 8th grade, freshman year of high school. So,
Hey, you only have to be 145 for one night. That's it.
Yeah.
Though, at a pro level. So that's the beautiful thing about it. You can have that brutal cut and not and recover for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it'll
I
be a
mean,
little bit more than 24, but
You look at like Patty Pimblett, he drops down to 45 and then blows back up to like 190.
And eats
Yeah.
8 pizzas in one night, and he's just back to 200
I cannot
pounds.
believe
It's
that
wild.
dude. I cannot believe that
like I
dude.
said,
made
he said in an
145.
interview he likes being fat.
I'd rather be fat and happy, lad.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
see.
So going pro before the year end, do you have like an idea how many pro fights you want before the end of the year?
By the end of the year, like hopefully 2 or 3.
So you want to stay pretty active.
Yes. Like I said, I took that knockout hit back in May of last year, and it kind of set me back because I had to wait 5 months, 6 months to even come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forget I'm trying to remember. How long does the commission suspend you for when you get knocked out? How many
That
months?
wasn't even like a fast knockout. Like that knockout happened in the second round, and they gave me pretty much the max like suspension.
I think it's
Okay.
like 6 months, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 months, I believe.
Dang, I didn't know they did it. Ohio's pretty strict on their stuff, though. They always have been, always will be.
But that wasn't even in Ohio. That was in Kentucky.
Oh, that was Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, well, with Kentucky though, you get a little bit more different. You get a little different stuff because you can head kick there and use.
Yep.
Can you use elbows in Kentucky?
No, you can't
Just
use
head
elbow.
kicks.
Just head kicks. Kicks and
Okay.
knees to the head.
Yeah, I bet you're looking forward though to some elbows and be able to throw some of those down while you're in that full mount position.
Oh yeah. Definitely ready for throw some elbows. I don't know about looking forward to even maybe get hit with one. I don't know about that.
I'll say they don't hurt as bad as you think they do, but that might be because of the adrenaline going. But you can see it afterwards. You just can't feel it during it. All right, I promise you that.
I've been seeing some nasty cuts off of elbows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cuts you real nice. Nice. So be pretty active. What is it? About to be May, so 5.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Oof. So quick. Well,
Yeah.
we got the June 28th card.
That's right.
We also have our August 23 card that's going to be coming up too in Findlay too. So maybe we can find you opponent for that as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, I want to be active.
All right.
Looking forward to that.
So, JD, do you have any shout outs? Anybody that you want to thank? Any sponsors that you want to thank as well?
The obvious is thank you to like my family, my friends, my coaches. I said I wouldn't be where I am without them. Also, thank you to my sponsors, which there's 3 of them. There's Paint and Beauty Tattoo Parlor out here in Toledo. Bucks Platinum around here in Toledo, and then Panda Technologies out there in Findlay area.
Right on. Right on. Well, we want to thank you for joining us 2 weeks in a row. And thank you for putting on such a great show for us this past Saturday. And if anybody wants to check out the full fight with the commentary and everything, that will be dropping tonight at 8:45. So go and check it out. Make sure, JD, you go and you share that everywhere so everybody can see how dominant you were in your hometown of BG.
Yeah, I definitely gotta go get a
Congrats on
mouth.
that,
So I definitely gotta go get a new mouthpiece because I chucked that after I went. I don't know where.
It's somewhere in the ether, somewhere out there, right? Well, again, thank you, JD, for joining us, and we will catch you next time, and hopefully we see you on the June 28th card.
Oh, hopefully, I'll see you guys then.
Thanks,
See you, man.
Hey, JD.
Later.
Yeah, like you said, the first prediction.
Yeah. Right. Like he did exactly what he said he was gonna do. That was a great win. If I'm JD McNett, if I'm Joe Garcia, that's a good win. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, after that interview, I was kind of curious to see like how the crowd would react to was going to be more the hometown person, and it was by far clear JD for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kaleb came out, and I was like, okay, there's some support there. That's not too bad. And then JD came out. I was like, oh, the crowd has spoken. Okay.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody in the crowd when Kaleb was walking down. He's like, I don't even know him. He ain't from BG.
That's definitely someone who listened to the podcast, right? Like, that's definitely somebody. We appreciate you out there.
Yeah.
We're gaining traction, boys. We're gaining traction.
We had comments. Like, I think there was like 3 or 4 comments after I went back and I looked. It goes, "Who is this guy? I've never heard of him. I've been in BG my whole life. I've never heard of this Kaleb guy." He got called out for sure.
It was a phenomenal card. I am happy to report. I got a little souvenir here, boys. Now, Clayton and I both had to throw our work shirts out. That for me is the second work shirt I've lost in a month, but I also got some blood on my sheet. So I got to take that with me and keep it everywhere I go.
He's got a keepsake.
It helped me to remember that Gabriel Harris was in the red corner because there was blood. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what fight that was, but that guy had a nasty
Brian Powers.
Brian
Powers. And he ended up winning too.
Yeah.
That's my fight of the night, guys. Like Brian
yes.
Powers and Stam Steffen. That was just, what more could you ask for as an MMA fan, right?
I thought the doctor was going to stop it at first.
I did too. That was, Brian had a cut. It was like right here, I think, like almost but it wasn't like bleeding into his eye. They let him go. Brian got knocked down too in the second round, and Sam jumped on him. But
he also had one right here.
He had one right here.
That was the second one, though.
That was huge.
The first one, when the doctor looked at it, there was just that little one in the eye, which at first didn't seem little. It was only little by comparison when he got the next one in the following round. And it's like, oh my God, dude. Like, if you'd seen that in Hollywood, you'd have been like, that's some great makeup work. You don't see open cuts like that. It's like, Jesus, man, that was a big one.
Oh,
Definitely need to get stitches.
That was a war.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a can't miss her, right?
Yeah.
Like he
subscribe
battled back to
YouTube
win.
page.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part, is he battled back to win.
Yeah.
Ended up walking away with a submission. Gentlemen, this is one of my favorite shows that we've ever worked for one reason and one reason only. We did not see a third round once. 13 fights, 13 finishes. What more could you ask for?
The one time I could honestly say I would have gladly traded places with the judges. Normally I'm saying, hey, I'm glad I don't have to call these fights. Man, what a night off they got. All they had to do was play musical chairs once every 10 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just looking at these fights, there were a lot of great performances. Shout out to Deacon Sawchuck, by the way. That's one of the fastest finishes that we've ever had on a Carnage Media show that we've worked. 9 seconds in the very first round. First real punch that he threw connected. I also personally really enjoyed seeing Donovan Stevens in action. I said it on the broadcast, former BGSU football player. That guy's a monster. Like, even just walking into the cage, just looking at him, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That is one.
Yeah, he has some raw athleticism. Like, give him a bit more time, he's gonna crisp up and he's gonna be a problem.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to
I'm
see
thinking,
him.
100 Donovan Stevens might take that gorilla. That's all I'm saying.
Had to throw it out there. Yes. Yes. Had to make its way in here somehow. Perfect. I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, I wonder if that's going to get brought up on the show tonight.
Yeah, we're going to put together our own Carnage crew. Here's the 100 Ohio fighters we would stack up against the gorilla.
Give me Charlie Cleveland and Donnie Stevens. That's
your start. That's your start. Yeah.
No, I did get I can't talk. Did get to talk to Silva afterwards. Now, because that was not normally we normally don't see Juan Silva do what he did, because he did a lot of covering up, which is not normally like him. He lost his mouthpiece. It fell out of the cage, and his comment was, "I'm not gonna let that big guy punch me in my teeth like that. There's no way." He's like, "I'll fight anybody, but I'm not gonna get punched in the mouth like that. Nope." I don't blame him.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't blame him at all. I'm not taking anything from Donovan at all. Just saying, we know how Silva fights, and that was uncharacteristic to him. And now I know why, because I had to talk to him afterwards, and that's what he's
didn't want to end up getting no dentures at his age.
Yeah, right.
Like I said, I would like to see Donnie Stevens maybe someday cut to 205. I think that would be. If he can make 205, that guy's gonna be an animal.
Oh yeah, he is.
I need to figure out what.
I want to say it was 230.
230. Okay, I was gonna say I wondered what his actual weigh-in weight was, because
I'm pretty sure it was 230 if I remember correctly.
I think it was 232, and yeah, which I mean he could start working his way down now, but especially for pro, like if he's works down about 220.
Yeah,
cuts down to 205. He's a problem.
That's doable.
He's a problem now.
Yeah, that I told the referee Jerry Poe and I were talking after the event for a little bit, and I said that might be the best raw athlete that I've seen in the cage at the show we've worked. Like, we see ex-football players, like I just threw out a name, Charlie Cleveland, right? Another great example. That dude's just an absolute monster. Go check out his knockout on the Cage Thunder show that just happened.
You need to watch that.
Oh my gosh.
He does it so effortlessly.
Yeah, he has 2 pro wins. He's 2-0 as a pro with 2 head kick knockouts. It's absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to watch that guy continue to rise.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a hard time finding fights here soon.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
People are going to look at that and be like, well, I don't want to end up on ESPN, so. Yeah.
Not in that way, at least. I want to be on ESPN, just not in that manner.
Yeah, not on the receiving end of a baseball bat to the side of my head.
There's one other fight, guys, on here I want to mention, just because a part of me would just really love to see this one get run back. So Josh Frazier won via TKO over Evan Lavely, but it was a cramp that stopped Evan. One of the few times we've seen, at least in our coverage, a fight get stopped in between rounds. And so even though that was a TKO after the first round, I felt like that was a really hard fought, pretty evenly contested first round. And I would love to see it run back so we could have a decisive winner, and rather than it being, because guys, we were talking about at the commentary desk, anybody who's ever woken up in the middle of the night with a calf cramp would tell you, I don't want to take a chance at trying to defend myself from getting hit while dealing with this. So I can absolutely understand that a cramp would be enough for you to say, oh yeah, we're going to have to call it. But I'd love to see those two get another chance to have a real finish, for lack of a better term.
Sure. And I agree. And I think it was kind of a classic striker versus wrestler matchup, right? Like, we saw Evan Lavely shoot those takedowns, took Josh down, but Josh's stand-up looked pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? He's tall, he's long, so he utilized those leg kicks. I like that front kick that he threw. I talked to him at the gym today, him, Dylan, and Victor Grootman were up in BG. We have it's like a martial arts room. There's like pads on the floor, there's pads on the walls, and you can just rent that room, and they do that. And Josh told me that he thinks he might have broke one of his toes on a teep.
Oh,
He was talking about that, and I was like, it's not great. It's not what you want to see, right? But he's walking around. He said he feels fine, just obviously some discomfort there. But I'd like to see
that broken bone, a little bit.
Yeah. I'd like to see them run that back at the Carnage Fight Series show, June 28th, Sandusky, Ohio.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing too, Clayton.
There we go. Have to.
A fight that I like too was I was looking forward to seeing Sean Freeman versus Caden Hastings, and
that did not turn out how I thought it was going to turn out.
I know. I did not think Freeman was going to get that choke, and I just love his energy every time he wins. Though he just bursts in energy. It's awesome. He enjoys it.
Yes.
Clayton, was it you or Q who said that their next rematch should be after they've turned pro? Because I agree with you. We were talking about that at the commentary desk. I still want to see.
I think that might have been Q, but I agree with him 100%. Right? Like, let them get a pro fight, maybe 2 under their belts, and then when they're both, 2-1, 2-0, that type of area, let's match them up. I'd love to see that.
Co-main. You know what I'm saying? We gotta let them get pro and make it all about Freeman versus Hastings. I'm telling you, it's going to be lightning in a bottle, boys, when we get that inevitable rematch.
Certified slobber knocker, as they say.
Right. That is right.
I'm picking up.
Well, were there any other fights that you guys wanted to go over from last weekend's card?
Not really for me. Like I said, just top to bottom, that was a great show. Anytime we don't see the third round, right? Like, what more could you want? A lot of great fights, and looking forward to the next Combate show up here in Bowling Green.
Yeah, I would agree. My one takeaway for you viewers at home would be when you see one of these videos from Combate MVP pop up, go ahead and click on it because it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be an entertaining, about 5 minutes. They're also over pretty quickly, so it's everything you would want.
Well, a lot of people have already watched it because our first one that we posted, which is already up, which was Rashawn Walls versus CJ Bomer, right? Beamer. I always, me and names. There's already over 800 views on that, and that's only been up since 2 days ago.
I mean, that's pretty good, but I think we can do better, gang. I think that can get to 1,000. All right, I'm just saying that fight deserves 1,000 views.
I was viewer number 776. Just throwing that up. That was my number. I watched it this morning.
That's awesome. Yeah, great card. Keep a lookout if you want to watch the fights on YouTube. They will be coming out throughout the week.
And right now we're releasing every other. So right now, because we still have from the week prior, we still have Ruthless Made Promotion 9 still coming out, some of those videos. So we're doing every other day of those until we're done. But we still have six of their cards or of their fights that still need to come out. So it's going to be a back and forth. So stay tuned, and those will be out shortly. But moving forward, we're getting to Clayton's favorite time right now, and we're going to be talking about UFC Fight Night in Des Moines, Iowa. I wish they had these fights when I was living in Iowa, but unfortunately, they didn't like me that much.
First trip to the Corn State. I don't know if that's their nickname, but it is now.
It is
first
now.
Trip there since 2000, boys. The UFC 26 was in Iowa. Which has always really surprised me, right? Like, Iowa has a great reputation, obviously, as a wrestling state. So I figured, MMA would catch on there, and it has at the regional level, but not as much as you would see, like, the UFC, Bellator, that kind of thing. So very excited for them to be back. Good lineup. There's a lot of very interesting fights on here. We're not going to dive into the prelims too much. One fight I do want to point out on the prelims, though, is last season's tough winner at middleweight, Ryan Loder, makes his UFC return against Asmat Bikoyev. I think is how you say his name. Both of you have seen him fight. Can you tell me where?
Nope.
I think both of you have. He has one UFC win. It was before he was in the UFC.
Wait, he's got one UFC win.
Yes.
Before he was. You mean against an opponent that's in the UFC?
No, one UFC win. He's had 22 pro fights. He has one UFC win. This was before he got into the UFC.
Was he on a UFC like LFA or something?
He was. It was an LFA show. He fought
Okay.
Dylan for the interim middleweight title.
I was gonna say that.
Oh,
That's the guy he fought.
I was gonna say that. I
That,
was like, that sounded familiar.
ladies and gentlemen, if you have Fight Pass, go back and watch that fight.
That was a good fight.
That is one of my favorite MMA fights I've ever watched before in my life.
it went all 5 rounds, didn't it? If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
a split decision, I believe, right?
Yeah, razor thin split decision. Dylan won the stand-up battle.
I
in
think
my
so.
opinion. Just look at the stats, there's nothing that you can really say that disproves that. Lost a close split decision, but that's one of my favorite MMA fights I've ever seen before in my life. But
Yeah.
boys, to kick off the main card, I have never seen the UFC do this. Not one time. But Lil Heathen coming back. I cannot
Coming
believe
back.
the UFC added him back.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm surprised with that too.
Yeah, he's been around forever. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens, like I said, has just been around forever. He was in the UFC for a very long time. Featherweight, lightweight contender. Everybody knows him as the who the fuck is that guy? That's who Conor McGregor was talking
Who
to.
the fuck is that
I'm the
guy?
hardest hitting 145er ever. And then Conor did his thing from there.
I used that meme today. That's funny.
Good. Good. It's a great meme. Like what's
Absolutely.
not to love, right? But this guy has 34 UFC appearances already. He's in, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the top 5 for UFC appearances.
He's got 50
Been around-
fights total.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been around forever.
yeah.
And he got released, had a little bit of a losing skid. I watched his last UFC fight. I was on vacation in South Carolina, threw the fights on. I believe it was a first round armbar, maybe something like that. Yeah,
Didn't,
first round to Gamrot. So
didn't Jeremy, after he got released, go over to bare knuckle for a quick
he
stint?
went over the PFL first.
PFL.
He's had kind of a wild ride. He was in the PFL for a little bit, boxed Jose Aldo, had a couple of boxing fights, and yeah, then he was in bare knuckle and was just an absolute animal in bare knuckle.
Yeah, I thought that's where he was going to stay because I feel like that's where he belongs. Like,
Yeah, he stopped
He
Eddie
fights like-
Alvarez in his last fight. That was huge.
huge.
That revitalized his career. And at 38, the rumor is the UFC signed him to a 1-fight contract to let him fight in his hometown, Des Moines, Iowa. I've never heard of the UFC doing that before. ever.
No.
Ticket sales.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah,
The
they've
venue
never
that
needed
they're at.
to do it before.
I looked this up today. I looked this up today. The venue sits 16,000 people. Like that's a sizable arena, and I
Yeah.
think that, like you guys said, they definitely brought him in to help fill it up.
Hometown guy. And he's opening the show.
Yeah. Oh, and you'll like this, Kev. He did fight on the Jake Paul Nate Diaz undercard, boxed.
Say that again.
He fought on the Jake Paul Nate Diaz undercard.
Ah, well, you can't win them all. Hey, if get paid, I'm here for it.
Have to. And then moving up, Cameron Smotherman. I like him as a prospect. A lot of bantamweights here, which makes sense once we get to the main event. Cameron Smotherman versus Serhi Saidi. I think is how you say that. I don't know, something like that. And then moving up, Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos, another bantamweight banger. And then moving up, we got welterweight Santiago Ponzinibbio. Zach, I should have just turned that one over to you. Like, I'm sure you would have had that.
That was an A+.
Me and pronunciations of names. Nope. Nope.
He's taking on Daniel Rodriguez, two 38-year-olds, guys. That's interesting matchmatchmaking.
Yeah, old guys.
Still time, Zach. Still time.
D-Rod has had he's had a couple of very interesting fights his last 5. 2-3 in his last 5, but he fought Li Zhonglei. He's been around forever. The Leech won a very close split decision over him. Dropped 3 in a row, but these are all great names. He lost to Neil Magny, got knocked out by Ian Machado Gary. Again, that win is aged very well. And then Kelvin Gastelum beat him via split or via UD. But last outing, walked away with the W over Alex Morano. Very close split decision there. So looking to rebound against the I believe he's Brazilian. No, he's Argentinian. Yeah, you can't. I'm happy I didn't say that to his face. Then. Oh my gosh, you would have killed him. And then moving up, co-main. This is a big one, boys. This is a big one. Bo Nickel, Penn State wrestler, versus Renier de Ritter, RDR, former one championship standout. I'm excited for this fight, guys. I really am. Bo Nickel is coming off of a win against Paul Craig, where he did not take Paul down at all. That was one of the weirdest fights I've ever watched before in my life. Like watching Bo Nickel stand up the whole time.
Yeah, it was like he was afraid of the jiu-jitsu. And
yeah,
if that's the case, he's not going to want to go against RDR. He's coming off 2 straight submission wins.
Right. And
are you sure he's afraid of going to the ground? Are you sure he wasn't just trying to highlight his stand-up game?
I guess you're right. Yeah. He could have been trying to show off his incredible boxing skills that you're right. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? But Paul Craig who was it? He broke Jamal Hill's arm.
Yeah.
That dude's guard is legit. So I get it. People online can throw trash on him all they want. Why didn't you take him down? Well, that's why. That's why. Paul Craig's guard is about as legit as they come. But I love this fight. This is a legit step up in competition for Bo Nickel. This is definitely the best guy that he's fought. And unfortunately, RDR is coming off of a submission victory against Kevin Holland, so we can ignore that.
So do you think that's going to go to the ground, or do you think it's going to be a decent stand-up game or a stand-up fight?
Here's my take. I think it's going to go wherever Bo Nickel wants it to go. Like I said, RDR has some miles on him now. He's got 20 fights, but those are all world championship level fights, right? Like he was fighting for titles and won. Bo Nickel is still young and hungry. So I think that if he wants to take him down, he will. I'm going with Bo Nickel. The line reflects that, but I don't think we've seen. He's minus 340 right now. I don't think we've seen Bo Nickel less than minus 1,000. So
okay, yeah.
That's my fight to watch. And then our main event, boys. Your favorite fighter's favorite fighter, Corey Sandhagen, going after the former flyweight champion of the world, Davison Figueiredo. I love this fight. I've been a big Corey Sandhagen fan for a long time. Corey and Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, Sean O'Malley would feed families.
Oh, for sure.
That is one of the best. That would be one of the best striking battles we could see in any division, really. Like Corey, he's explosive, he's powerful. One of my favorite MMA knockouts ever was him stopping Frankie Edgar. Just caught him with a flying knee.
Frankie Edgar's first ever KO.
I felt bad watching that fight, but at the same time, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was at a high school basketball game. I remember sitting there on my phone. I lost my mind in a major crowd of people, and they're like, what's going on? I was like, dude,
Awesomeness.
Corey Sandhagen, that's what's going on.
I blame all the commentators. I think they jinxed him because that's all they were talking about is how Frankie Edgar has never been knocked out, never been how many fights, and also
Corey throws the craziest, most athletic looking flying knee of all time. Like, just what more can you say? Like I said, I love Corey Sandhagen coming off of a bit of a tough loss against Umar Nurmagomedov. What are you gonna do, right? It's a Nurmagomedov. Like that happens to everybody. But prior to that, though, he was on a 3-fight win streak. So I'm really rooting for Corey Sandhagen to get back on track here, and I think he can do it. But if this gets into the 4th and 5th round, Davison Figueiredo has that championship experience, right?
Yeah.
So very, very curious to see how that goes. But boys, main event, my pick of the weekend, Corey Sandhagen.
Okay.
I will have to second that. I think he's catching his groove back again. And I mean, he's been competing with the highest level, obviously. Figueiredo, former champion. He's been there, done that. But I just think it's Sandhagen's time right now. He's making a run.
This could be Corey's last. I don't want to say that, but it could be the start of his last trek to the title, right?
Yep.
He's 33. That's a little older for bantamweights. But I say that with Figueiredo being 37. But this could be the start of now or never for Corey Sandhagen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I have on UFC Des Moines. And Kev, you'll like this too. I did see that Jeremy Stevens threw out the first pitch at the Iowa Cubs game last night. So,
ooh, there we go. My favorite AAA affiliate.
ugly colors.
The Durham Bulls are second.
Ugly colors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Got those 100-year uniforms, Got to stand on that tradition. It's the Cubs. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cubs. Yeah. All right.
But not an easy show for the Cleveland fans, man. Jeez.
No, I'm wearing a Guardians t-shirt right now. That stung. That stings a little bit. Not gonna lie. That one hurts.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. If any team had to beat us, it had to be you guys, right?
That was the whole thing. I was like, why did at the time Indians have to make it to the World Series? I was like, literally, the Cubs beat against any other team, I would feel zero guilt, no regret. Right. Fuck it, we ball. It's been 100 years. But it's like, dude, really? You had to put us against the other, like the second longest cursed team? Are you serious? Are you going to make me feel guilty about this? Universe, thanks a lot. Any other World Series, I'd have been rooting for Cleveland because I would have been like, oh, yeah. It would have felt like Boston in the early 2000s when I was like, oh, God, we're going to see this curse broken. That's so cool. I'll never get to experience that as a Cubs fan. Here we are.
Baseball.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
It's America's pastime, damn it.
I'll stick with fighting.
Yeah.
It's on every weekend.
True.
Different levels of excitement, that's for sure.
That's the best part about this sport, right? Like when people ask me, why do you watch it? There's no off season.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? There's fights year round.
Yep.
It's especially with the ESPN deal they've been doing. The UFC's been doing like 40 events a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of MMA content.
Speaking of that, have we heard anything on the new contract with the UFC and wherever they're going to go?
Oh my gosh. Netflix's CEO actually just made a comment about that. I saw this like literally 10 minutes before we were starting.
It makes sense.
Netflix's CEO, let me see it, stated that the promotion's $1 billion request is unacceptable. Our live event strategy is unchanged. We remain really focused on the big breakthrough events. Our audiences love them. Live is a relatively small part of our content spend.
I'm just saying, boys, they gave the WWE $5 billion with a 5 in front.
Yeah,
of it.
but that was for how many years though?
5. It's $1 billion a year with it has the option of being another 5 for another 5. So it could end up being 10 billion.
So why wouldn't they want to go? Because now I don't know. Maybe I'm off on this, but is WWE bigger than UFC right now when it comes to viewership?
I think it's the international viewership. I would say yes.
Yeah.
Because it's Netflix also, although the PLEs are done on Peacock stateside, internationally Netflix owns the whole library. So all the stuff you would normally go to Peacock right now to watch, like a bunch of the classic stuff, all the stuff that was on WWE Network, it's all on Netflix. So I think globally that's probably where it's at. Like it just has a wider range. I don't know. I'm not saying that UFC is not a global sport, but WWE has been around the world. They've been touring Europe and other countries for 40 years. So they're probably a little better established internationally, I would say.
I mean, I'd agree with you on that because you've got one champion that basically runs all of Asia. And so the UFC is in Dubai, in the Middle East, and then maybe in Europe, I think is probably that, in Brazil is where they are internationally. I don't see them too often go anywhere else other than those kind of 3 locations.
Whereas the WWE is
they don't go to Europe. They don't go to the Europe. They go to the UK. There is a difference there. They haven't. Yeah, got them.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Where's the UK though?
What? That's an island.
It's
Nobody cares. It's not the mainland. But yeah, they haven't been to. I don't think they've been to Germany since 2018 or 2019. It was before COVID for sure. And I don't think. I'm trying to think of another European country they've done a show in post-COVID outside of the UK. I don't even think they've been to Ireland. Which is
kind of surprising during Conor McGregor's time.
Well, they had a couple McGregor shows in Dublin when he was at his peak. But like since then, I don't think they haven't been back in a long time.
When did they do that France show?
That's true. You're right. They've been to Paris a couple of times.
Europe! Victory!
That's real Europe. We'll call it that. But yeah.
White flag, baby.
They just, man, I wish that they would travel more. Especially like this has been like kind of a thing for a while now. The UFC's never been to Africa. Blows my mind. We had 3 African champions at the same time at one point, and nobody thought, hey, let's find a place in Nigeria and figure it out.
Well, could you get the ticket sales there?
That's the question. Your strategy would just have to be a little bit different, though. You couldn't do what they do in the UK and like keep it on UK time, like keep it on America time in the UK, and like people and the main event over there is walking out at 5 a.m. then UK time. I don't think you could get away with that in Nigeria. I think you would have to do that local time.
Or maybe that's why they haven't gone there, because the viewership wouldn't be as good.
Maybe that's an ESPN thing, because like I don't think they've done a pay-per-view not on America time underneath the streaming deal they have right now with ESPN. They've done fight nights, like Max Holloway fought at like 8 a.m. one time here because it was in Singapore when he fought the Korean Zombie.
Yeah, and I misspoke, guys. So the WWE Netflix deal, it is $5 billion for the full 10 years. So I was slightly off there, but again, that's another one. Since they have now come on to Netflix, as Clayton was just mentioning, when they did their Europe tour, Raw was at 3 p.m. on Mondays because they were doing it local time, which is something you can do when you're on a streaming service too, right? Because people will just watch it on their phone at 3 p.m. Like, oh no, I'm going to watch my favorite show at work. Oh, I would never do that on my phone. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I still wouldn't rule Netflix out, to be honest. I talked about that before. There is something to be said about corporate synergy. and the fact that the other half of this behemoth is already with Netflix, there are certainly some perks, and Netflix has been just awful with their cross promotion. I mean, they are sliding in 15 comedians you've never heard of into every episode of Monday Night Raw and be like, oh, hey, Bert Kreischer's in the crowd, in case anyone gives a shit. They don't, but Netflix has got to try to prop these people up.
How dare you? Van Wilder is a classic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the one. Everybody at least has one contribution to life. So, good for you, Bert. But yeah, I could still see it happening, but I'm interested to see what the actual price will be, because I do think there will be potentially a little bit of a rehab going. I think we've talked about this before. That fan that Dana used to talk about, that average fan that wasn't going anywhere, has not only been priced out of ticket seats, but is damn near priced out of even buying pay-per-views at this point. So something's got to give.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. We talked about that a little bit last week. Like, people can't afford, especially if you have a family, people can't afford $300 nosebleeds. Yeah. Like, that's just not going to happen. And you can dig UFC crowds all you want. Like, you could, because people have been saying there's too much booing, that kind of thing. Well, that's the UFC's fault, in my opinion. You don't have hardcores there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, you do not have hardcore sitting cage side anymore. That doesn't happen. You have people who are filming a TikTok for 10 minutes and then leaving.
Yeah, you just got a bunch of influencers or already famous people in the first 3 rows, and then it's starting to feel almost like a Hollywood award show, where it's just like, look how important we are. Look at all these famous people that are better than you that get front row seats. They don't care. They don't care about any of this. They're just here because other people in the audience might cheer the fact that they're here, where it's like, dude, this is not part of the production. I think sometimes people can get caught up and it's tough. It's a tough life to live. Ask Zach and Wade. You just think about your broadcast audience and your arena audience. Like, that's a difficult thing to do. I don't mean to belittle that aspect of it, but yeah, I think sometimes it's done at the fans' expense, and there's just kind of a perfect storm right now of what I would call maybe short-sighted decisions that have got us into this position where I do think we're going to see a little bit. I mean, it's not going anywhere, mind you, but I could see ticket sales going down. I could see pay-per-views dropping a little bit, and which could impact the price that they're able to get. Now's not a great time probably to be asking for $1 billion.
Yeah.
Probably it'd be calling John Jones every 2 hours. Like, listen, dude, all the bullshit you've put me through. If you do not sign this card so I can get $1 billion out of Netflix, you will never work in this town again, kind of thing. It's like, come on, John.
And it doesn't help that they don't have like a face of the promotion right now, right? Like, they don't have Connor to carry them into a $4.2 billion sale like they did in 2016. So that the only thing that kind of would have helped them out was Alex Pereira, in my opinion. Yeah. Alex Pereira was a champion who didn't even speak English that everybody liked. Like, you know what I mean? That was a dude who was going to stand and bang, put on exciting fights every single time. And now that he's not a champion, they're really kind of lacking that front and center star. You can call it John Jones, sure, but like, he doesn't fight enough.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't. I just saw a post saying he's the second longest champ at heavyweight at like 700 something days, and all the comments are saying like, well, how many times did he fight?
Did you see that Twitter?
He's taking the Roman Reigns approach. It's like, oh yeah, I'll defend my title once every 3 years.
Did you see that the community notes got that on Twitter?
Oh no,
because they called him the undisputed champion, and it was like, actually, since Tom Espinal has the interim belt, he is not the undisputed champion.
He's not.
It's actually quite disputed by definition. Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I'm afraid to see what the ticket prices will be for that if that fight happens.
I'm prepared to sell a kidney. I'm prepared to sell a kidney. I'm prepared.
Yeah, I don't know if Kevin's going to be joining us for that card if the tickets are expensive as I think they're going to be.
Like, a ticket to this show, a new TV, and an Xbox. I don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Shoot. Well, Clayton, tell them where they can find you, buddy.
You guys can find me on all of my social medias at cscalina12. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am walking Saturday night, but that's not going to stop me from tweeting and watching the fights. So hasn't stopped me before, hasn't stopped me now. I'll never change. Kev, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me over on Bite Size Sports. I'd also like to say to Swampy the Swamp Rat in Swamp Rabbit in chat. Sorry to hear about that, sir. Hope you are all right. But one last bit of news, guys, before I get out of here. While we won't have the Wrestling Minute this week, I thought you guys might like to hear that Hulk Hogan has partnered with Eric Bischoff and Izzy Martinez to launch Real American Freestyle Wrestling in hopes of bringing the sport to a mainstream audience as its popularity continues to grow in the United States. So according to Hulk Hogan, there's a lot of meat on this American freestyle wrestling bone, brother, and we are going to try to monetize that. He says that there is a big thirst here in this country for more live sporting events, and I, for one, will back that. Maybe one of the 2 times in his whole life Hulk Hogan has told the truth. But what do you guys think? I guess as I pass it back around, any thoughts on Real American Freestyle Wrestling?
I'll watch. Why not?
Yeah.
If it's like readily available, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I love wrestling freestyle.
I knew this would be
If he's talking about like freestyle, like in the Olympics kind of wrestling, then yeah, absolutely. It's on Flow Wrestling right now. The only bad thing is you gotta pay a subscription for that, I guess. If you don't watch it that much, then that's where probably is the downfall of that. You got a lot of like the Olympic trials. You got a lot of actually it just happened. Like there were some high schoolers that name was I think it's Jax Forrest. He just committed Penn State, I believe. He won so not the Olympic trials, but a freestyle tournament with like former national champions. He's a high school. Well, just graduated high school.
So he's a man.
Wow.
Yeah, but at 18,
Yeah.
he's taking out former national champs.
Yeah, that's a statement right there. I mean,
It's a great way to put yourself on the scene, right? Like,
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a different form of combat, but if you don't understand the rules, you understand wrestling, it's intense. You're always on your feet.
Wade just became a Hulk Hogan fan, guys. I think he just became a Hulk Hogan fan. He's like, brother, let's do this.
Yeah,
Don't do a lot of research, Wade. Yeah, one-sided love affair is all I will say.
Oh, yeah, I'll watch some wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch some Flow Wrestling, or some freestyle wrestling.
I'm all for it. I was just
Wade,
glad. Yeah, right. I was just glad they weren't announcing they were doing a Muay Thai. I was like, don't take my thing, dude. Come on. Let me have this.
Oh, speaking of Muay Thai, someone asked me at our last shows when we're going to cover some Muay Thai events. I said, as soon as Muay Thai promotion
Yeah, hit us up.
hit us up, we'll do it.
Yeah, you kidding me? Hit us up, dude. We'll come work your Muay Thai show. You kidding me?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love that. That'd be well. Kevin is definitely going to need to go through a couple of shirts that night.
That's gonna be a poncho night, is what that's gonna be. We're gonna have like Andy Reid face shields, like
We should start selling those like at
Oh,
SeaWorld, but they're just Carnage Media ponchos.
Can you imagine if we sold like used ones live from the blood of some of America?
Oh yeah, instead of like a game worn jersey, we start to sell like
our blood soaked shirts.
this is covered in Quentin Richards' blood.
Right
Poncho.
Brian Powers leaked onto this piece of
Yeah,
paper.
right.
Signed with his blood. That's how it's going to be.
That's hilarious.
Shoot. So anyway, though, Kevin, where can they find you, buddy?
Y'all can find me over at Bite Size Sports on YouTube. We did a nearly 4-hour NFL Draft first round watch party. Clayton was there. I had a good time. Thank you for stopping over to hang out with us. That was a good time. And then, of course, you can catch me talk about movies and TV and all of that nerdy stuff over on the Dweeb channel. Right now, we are talking about Andor, a Star Wars story. So other than that, look out for me on Twitter and or Facebook at Kev Nevick. Zach, what about you, sir?
Well, you can find us not just us, right here. This is where you're only going to be able to find me is here, or unless you come to a show and watch me run around with like a chick with my head cut off, because that definitely happens every single time. And I'm always saying, wait, what are we doing? Hey, where we at here? What are we doing there? So you'll see me. You probably won't get to talk to me. If you do, it'll be for like 2.5 seconds. But you can catch me in either one of those, or you can check everything out that we do here as a team on carnagemediappv.com. We've got all of our past shows on there, so if you'd like to watch those, you can, or you can check us out on our YouTube channel, which you're watching right now. All of our past fights are on here, not the full cards. That's going to be coming later. You'll hear about that here soon. But yes, and I guess the next show that we're doing that we know right now is going to be our card, Carnage Fight Series 2 in Sandusky, Ohio, June 28th. So stay tuned for that. We already have some fight announcements for that. You can see all of those on our Facebook or Instagram. And so if you want to stay up to date on any of the Carnage Fight Series stuff, check out our Facebook or Instagram. Wade.
Yes. You pretty much nailed it there. CarnageMediaPPV.com if you want to stay tuned and get access to all the fights that we cover. And like and subscribe to our YouTube page to help support Carnage Unleashed, help support the regional fighters around the area. And thank you to all the people watching. Swampy, again, I just want to say thank you for being a part and watching us and helping us grow. Sorry to hear what you're going through. Keep your head up. God bless. See you next time.